Every month we have a ship giveaway. For June, we have an Origin 890 Jump, the massive luxury ship that is a huge sort of like capital luxury ship. It's been donated by Odyssey Interstellar, a friendly industrial expansionist organization in Star Citizen that focus on mining, trading, industry, exploration, research, and infrastructure. In short, commerce is their goal. They run regular weekly events in-game now. Please check them out if you are looking for an org to join. Links down below. I was able to catch up with some of the officers of this medium-sized org, Odyssey Interstellar, which have currently got 362 members at time of recording. They're actively recruiting for players now for their style of gameplay, which is actually quite diverse. It's not just economy and industry stuff. It is a lot of escorting and combat stuff, and they are very active and have these weekly events. So they pretty much do everything except piracy, and they're active now for 3.6 and beyond as well. So let's get to know them a little bit better. Can you please tell me who you are and what you do for the org?
All right. Hey, I'm Deletum. I'm the executive in charge of security.
Well, I guess I'll go next. I'm Wes M.F. and King. I'm the content creation director.
I'm Anonymouse. I do diplomacy and a whole lot of project management.
My name is Freedom Prodigy, and currently I am the community executive for Odyssey Interstellar. I head up the departments of streaming, content creation, events, and recruitment. And basically our organizational goal is to make money within the game. We're very trade focused. We're very profit focused. We dabble in both illicit goods and legal goods. We're very anti-troll, kicking people out of the game and stuff like that. We're very pro bringing more people into the community and creating a better positive environment that, casual people can come in and hang out and play with. Most of our members have families. They're, owners of businesses and things like that. We do have a few kids in high school that, that we've taken under our wing and like kind of, trying to build them up because they've shown real maturity and drive. And, so basically our overall community is just bringing in more positive people into the game and the community.
Big cross section of the org today from sort of like members that do little bits and bobs for it. Is there anyone else at all? I just saw someone else unmute themselves.
Hello, my name is AK at Bridgewater, and I'm one of the chiefs here at Odyssey Interstellar. And I try to facilitate user interactions within the organization and try to influence people and try to let them know that we have an event coming up, and hang out, basically.
So can one of you, or potentially more of you, give me a brief rundown? I know you gave a little bit of one a minute ago, Freedom, but sort of like a rundown of exactly what the org is, what its purpose is, what its goals are, what you do in game, what's the plan, what's the org stand for?
We are a trade org, so we are focused in on, we want profits, we want money, we want to be extremely powerful when it comes to financials. So we dabble in everything that the game has to offer, but our primary focus is getting them credits into our players' hands. So, we set up, when back in 3.4, JT was the lockdown spot, we would, every week lock down JT, make sure anybody in the game could come in and trade, mostly protection for our people. We'd lock down JT, Grim, Hex, Levski, allow people to trade routes and, and have things like that. We do a ton of events every week. Right now with the party launch error system, right now we've taken a sabbatical for our events and have restructured. So now we're refocusing back into FPS events within Star Marine and within the PU. We also have like ship sharing events where we vote on 3 ships that we want to share for the week. We spawn those ships, then we have people that are pretty much experts in those ships come in and teach new people or other people, hey, this is, components that you want to use. This is the kind of flight style. These are the paths. This is the strategies you want to use to fly these ships. This is the kind of crew you want, and, yada, yada. And then we also have our events where we go do some combat training. We do flight training. We have training series. Basically, we have a lot of new people that come in, don't really know what they're doing. They just bought new sticks or they're on mouse and keyboard. They're not familiar with the keybinds. The game's really complex. So we have those kinds of events to help those people, both beginner and sort of advanced. We don't have like a crazy advanced class, but we have 2 tiers, beginning and, we call it advanced, for, different tiers of players, veterans, and new people. We also do a ton of just hanging out and talking with people and getting to know them. every member that gets, that is recruited into the org, it has been talked to by somebody from leadership. So we really do try to get involved with our community on the outside of the game. It's not just about Star Citizen. It's really about the community involved, the people that are here is really why we love this game, is we enjoy building this community for this game, but also getting the kind of people that we just like in real life. Our goals really are to bring more positive people into the game because we don't want it to become Eve.
Damn.
Scathing comments on Eve. Love it.
Yep.
Any of the rest of you had anything to add to that, or is that pretty accurate?
That's very accurate.
That's very accurate. Definitely, I think the biggest thing we shoot for, besides making money, is creating an environment that makes people want to play. Have fun, allowing them to have fun in the game.
And it's not just Star Citizen. Like, we understand that the game has burnout. The game has frustrations. The game is really frustrating to play at certain points. And then so as an organization, as leadership, we really tried to facilitate that and really tried to, hey, go ahead, take your break, do this. Like, we have other games we can play. There's like Sea of Thieves. There's other things that you should be able to do that, it's not like something where, oh, this is Star Citizen. You are stuck within this game and you can't go play anything else. Absolutely not. You are allowed your freedom. We encourage your freedom. We want you to come in when you hang out because we want you to be there because you want to be there, not because you're obligated. We want the positive environment of people in that community because it makes it better for everybody.
So that's quite a broad spectrum. So can you sort of like rein it in for me for what kind of players is your org suitable for? What restrictions are there? So is it for lawful only players? We are lawful, basically, other than the trade side of it. Like, we're not going out, trolling other people, killing them just for fun and stuff like that. Usually we fight other organizations. That's usually what we like to do when we have engagements. We do a lot of community engagements with Lucky 13, Angels of the Warp, things like that for the combat aspect. Then we also try to bring in other orgs to do trade routes and help lock down JT and stuff, or not JT, but other drug labs and things like that. We don't like the people that like to backstab, that are looking. We just had a guy come in trying to apply to the org. He's super suspect, comes in with a shady name. He's like, look, I'm a spy. I like to stab people in the back. I'm a part of gangs. I can infiltrate and do all this stuff. And I'm like, look, man, that's a cool thing for your style of gameplay. However, that's not something that we facilitate in this game. We don't want to make people leave the game. We want to bring people into the game. So if you're into, going out there causing mayhem and stealing people's ship and blowing it up and saying, fuck you in chat, you're not the guy for us. If you're going out there spawning new ships for somebody, teaching somebody a trade route, how to mine, and you're kind of bored being by yourself, come join Odyssey Interstellar. Come to a group where we embrace you as a person of your leader, where you're helping other people, you're bringing more people into this game, and you care about, you're just a genuine good person, and you're not trying to do shady shit. So, out of curiosity, with the thought of espionage gameplay in the future, is it sort of like you wouldn't participate much in that gameplay more than just counter-espionage, preventing people from...
We have that section.
We would more pay the people that would do the espionage for the information more than we would participate in the espionage.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Cheng is here.
What's up, Cheng?
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, go ahead. Introduce yourself, Cheng.
Sure. Hey, BoredGamer, how are you?
I'm good. Hi. I'm BoredGamer.
All right, welcome in. So I'm Cheng Ho. And my role is actually in transition right now. I used to be the community manager for Odyssey Interstellar, and I had a brief hiatus of a couple of months from the game. So during that time, Freedom took over as community manager and has been doing an awesome job. So I'm back, and we're currently redefining my role. Guys, I don't know if Slither talked about this at all in our Sunday meeting or not, the one I couldn't make.
We have to vote on it, so we pushed it to next week.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Board. So been in the org for a little bit, and my role, like many of the other people here, is to try and make the org great, whatever the org needs. So we have defined roles, we have org charts, and I'm sure we'll talk about that if we haven't yet. But ultimately, we don't see the roles as jobs. You don't get hired into a role. You don't get fired from a role. You get assigned to it because you want to do it, because you have a skill set that matches that role, and because the org needs it. So that's why I say that, you know, my role is in transition. We're trying to find a good fit for where I can help the org right now. And so I think that will be announced shortly.
And obviously there's quite a
Industry.
heavy economy and industry sort of gameplay focus with your org. And you did talk a little bit about combat roles and things. So how does combat roles work within your org at the moment? Obviously there's, and how's that going to evolve? Because obviously there's a very limited amount that you can do in Star Citizen at the moment, so you kind of have to do some sort of combat. But within your org, is there a focus for people that want to do just escorting and combat with you guys, or is it more sort of geared towards almost entirely economy and industrial gameplay?
Yeah, so Board, let me jump in real quick, and I don't think you guys ran him through an org chart yet, correct?
Nope. No.
Okay, and we're not going to share our org chart with you, Board, because it obviously has information
Because
that's
we're
not for
changing it.
everybody, and we're changing. But I did want to give you sort of the high level rundown of how the structure of the org is right now, and that will already, I think, answer some questions, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So first we have we basically have different divisions, and then roles within each of these divisions. So we have a community division that takes care of the community, right? And taking care of the community for us, for example, is we have to create some content, right? So we have people that are in charge of content creation. We have streamers. We have competitions, which you can understand events by that. We have recruiting. That's all under community. Then we have our diplomatic division, right? Where obviously we're going to be interacting with other orgs and with NPC characters and perhaps even orgs too. We don't know yet. So we have a few roles under that. We have an intelligence division to both gather and leverage intelligence. We have support. Support can be, repairs, refueling, medical, rearming, basically the support that the org is going to need, but also perhaps something that we can farm out to other people that need it if we have that bandwidth in the future. We then have industrial. So we're talking, mining, salvage, farming, engineering. Again, all of these divisions geared to support the org in what it does, but capable of interacting and perhaps even providing service to outside the org. Next is exploration. And I think that kind of is self-explanatory, some roles under exploration. And we have trade. It's one of the big divisions that we have. And we're talking, both commodities, but also, for example, under trade, we have passenger transit, right? That's something that we'll be doing too, or providing as a service. And then we have security, which is one of the questions that you asked. And we have a couple of guys here that can talk better about security, so I'll let them talk on what our security division is really geared to do. But I kind of just wanted to give you this rundown because I think it gives everybody a pretty good idea of how broad the org is, all the different things that we get involved in doing, and hopefully, will be a match for some of your viewers.
Yeah, Deletum, I heard from a reliable source that you were in charge of security, so do you want to give me a quick rundown of that?
So one of the things we're working on right now is we're working on kind of a training program to kind of go from first spawn to knowing what you're doing to being certified to run, a turret in combat operations in a time of war, right?
Yeah.
And have that all really defined out. And like where someone has, it's not just like you have to do this. There's a guided path and there's someone to show you how to do it along the way. And we're working on those things right now. And we're getting a poll coming out to see like what members want to focus on first and things like that. What we're trying to accomplish right now is like when, let's say we're doing an event and we've got the traders are going to go out and make money. Like Freedom was saying, you lock something down, make sure people are going to be safe while they're trading. That's a perfect time for our security team to start practicing. So we're working on things like like we're going to do a new system where we'll basically have like two teams. One team can go and they'll be doing bounty hunting. Another team can be helping the traders, and then they can swap. The traders then, of course, will be paying the security team a little cut for helping them stay safe. Everyone gets paid. Everyone had a good time. And we found there's a good amount of success in in finding those dogfights when you lock down a popular area. So it's been good fun, and we're hoping to bring a lot more structure into that training in the future.
You did talk about earlier that that you do operations against other orgs, which I assume is PvP related, but I'm sort of like curious on how PvE versus PvP orientated your org is and sort of like the gameplay it focuses on. It sounds like it's mostly PvE with you deal with PvP if you have to. Is that an accurate characterization?
Yes and no. I mean, we have those groups that are going to focus in PvP. A lot of the security team, I think, are going to be primarily PvPers, if I'm being honest, right? But we have a lot of people in the org that are PvE. I mean, frankly, you know, we met previously when I was part of another org, and we merged. Like, it's not that like I left or anything like that. IDF was all security and military minded, and we had no idea how to do anything else in the game. And we met OI, and it was this wonderful community that had like all these skill sets, and they understood the game very well, and they had ambition that lined up with ours, and they were lacking in security, and it was like this perfect marriage.
We like to say we do everything except piracy.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. But you would restrict sort of like proper outlaws from your org. Is that correct?
Maybe. I mean, it depends on the business relationship, right? Like,
For the most part.
Like, if it doesn't profit in any way, we're not interested.
It depends what kind of outlaw you're talking about. If you're talking about a smuggler who's not out there being a D-bag to everybody, yeah, we can have relations with someone like that. If you're talking about a griefer and like they're just a jerk, like no.
And they're just intentionally going out there killing everything and sabotaging, yeah, no, we're not part of that.
So you have quite regular active play sessions weekly. Can you tell me more about what you've done recently and your plans for the future? What can sort of like org members get involved with?
Right. So the one thing we had participated in was the Daymar Rally Grey Cat event, the annual one. So we have active members within the Daymar Rally. So we participate in race events, cyclone events, and things. Well, basically the practice races every month and things like that. We also, I think last month when the parties were working, we had a couple FPS mission org v org events with L13. So we went into their Discord, joined them in a group, and then they were in their team and we were on our team, and we fought on the rooftops of our corp. It was a lot of fun. You know, they're obviously combat focused, so we were wiped out, but we had a blast. And then we also do, well, Cheng, do you want to speak on some of those too?
Yeah, sure, Freedom. So one of the things that I quickly read in your questions board was, I can't remember exactly how you worded it, but it reminded me of one of the events that we do. So I think maybe this will trigger what you were asking. So between the members of the org, the org is pretty sizable right now. We're above 300 members. And actually, we have to thank you because quite a bit of that last traffic came because of you mentioning our org in your recent videos. So thank you very much for that. And we realized that with all the members that we have access to virtually all the ships that are in game. We have quite a few people that have incredibly sizable fleets, but we want all the members to have access to that, especially now that the game is in alpha. And you're still finding things out, and things are changing. A ship you flew 6 months ago can be completely different now. So one of the things we do is we do ship test drives. We'll have the community vote on the top 3 ships for each of these events that they'd like to take out, and not just to fly around, but to learn more about the ship. So it's kind of like a guided tour of the ship, and then you get to go fly it and do whatever you want. That's I would say a structured way that we provide any ship to anybody in the org. But then we also have in our Discord a way that you can just request a ship. You want to fly a ship that you don't have, you put in a request in there. Somebody that has that ship will come back and say, okay, when do you want to meet? I'll spawn it for you. That's the more informal way that we allow people to fly ships. I know that's not really an event, but just to tie up the whole, access to ships conversation. Frito mentioned us working with other orgs. We try to do that a lot because it's both beneficial for us as well as the game itself. It helps us in practicing combat. It helps us in diplomacy, but it also helps us finding out the mechanics of how this is going to work, and even identifying some of the bugs that are out there and helping RSI fix these things by reporting some of the issues that we run into. So it's kind of a win-win-win. We see that. And then we have our own sort of internal events that are not with other orgs, and they're usually geared with a balance between having fun and learning a skill, right? So for example, we'll go into Covalex, or Covalex, however you say it, and do some 0G FPS, which can be very different than when you have gravity. It's a lot of fun, right? But it's also teaching people how to do that. We do some events with vehicles. Frito mentioned the Daymar Rally. We're big supporters of the Daymar Rally, but we also do our own races. And we're still tweaking how that's done, because there's always pros and cons on how you set it up. But we've had loads of fun with ground vehicles racing, and even some support ships, and places where, like, after this waypoint, there's going to be a ship that's going to be shooting everybody, right? So it's like everyone for themselves. It's really a myriad of things that we try to do to both explore the game, but to also show all that the game can do to all of our members.
You mentioned there that your current org size was around 300. Did you have a maximum size in mind that you'd like to grow the org to, or is it infinite?
Yeah, it's a good question that I don't think we know the answer to yet, because it's too early to tell. I will tell you this. We're not aiming for size. We're aiming for quality, right? We want to be a great org, and that doesn't necessarily mean a limit on members, but who knows? Maybe it gets to a point where we can't manage it as well with 3,000 members as you can with 300 members. So I would never say no, we will never have a limit, but it's definitely not in our plans right now. We just focus on creating a great structure that can be expanded upon, that can support the growth of the org. And if we bump into problems later on, then we'll cross that bridge when we're at it, if that makes sense.
So say that I found your org online by whatever medium. I went on the website and clicked on recruits, and how does it go beyond that? So after I've requested, can I join your org? So what happens for me as a prospective
So once you found
member?
us, so once you found us, then you're basically it depends on how you find us. You come into Discord, we point you to our recruit at the very top page is recruitment landing page, where we have instructions. Usually when you hit our Discord, you're greeted with multiple people saying, "Hey, welcome, what's going on?" in our general chat. And then we try to get people directly into the fold, and then we try to get you into a comms chat so we can have a conversation with you and be like, okay, you check out, or like, oh, this dude's definitely a psycho, we may not want to have him in, or whatever, kind of thing. We try to get your vibe, and if your vibe matches, we include you, and if your vibe doesn't match, we try to find a place for you that maybe will match your vibe. Unless you come at us sideways, then we just kick you. But it's only happened once. And then as far as from there, if you come at us from the RSI page, when you go into applying to the org, we have a list of instructions, join the Discord, check us out on Spectrum and things like that. So we try to communicate as much as possible, but we've noticed that people just refuse to read. So, it's kind of, a hit or miss if they read the instructions, but usually we get, between Discord and the RSI page, if you hit our Discord, we get you in comms, and then we talk to you that way. Through the RSI page, if you don't give us your Discord name and you don't respond to your Spectrum name, then we kind of exhaust our options to talk to you, but we lay the foundation for you to find us again and come back and and engage us where we can have an actual conversation with you. We don't really play with people that don't talk to us.
Board, just to add to that, the informal interview, the conversation we have with the recruits, or the prospective recruits, is that, and this may sound cliche, but it's very true, because we're not aiming for numbers, we don't have any pressure in accepting people. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that they're as good a match for the org as the org is for them, because we want them to have fun too, right? I think some orgs go for size, and so in that case, accepting somebody is a very tempting thing. Whereas we don't really have that temptation. We just want to make sure it's a good match both ways.
Do you have any sort of like major gameplay plans or ways you want to take the org for the latest, the next Star Citizen patch 3.6? Do you have plans for that already, or is it sort of like play it by ear and just evolve the gameplay that you can do in your org based on that?
Yeah, I would say one of the things that we do with every new patch, because everybody gets resets, is to help people make money. So, for example, in 3.4, it was a lot of jump town, right? And that created other opportunities for the org as far as training security and developing communication plans, etc. So that will be certainly something that we'll be doing in 3.6. And 3.6 is going to present some new things. A law system. We don't really know how that's going to work with the black market yet. I think we've all heard RSI talking about it, but it will be a different thing when we're playing. So the early days will be developing this plan of how can we help our players make some money so that they can go off and try different things and buy new ships and buy armors and weapon and things like that. That's typically what we do on a big patch like that. After that, it's exploiting whatever is new in that patch, right? Maybe we have a new area like we did with our corp, and so we might plan some events around those areas. Maybe there's new mechanics that we can develop events for, or just have fun using them too. So we kind of dip our toes in the water, see what it's like, and then go from there.
And you said earlier that you have access to a huge range, if not all of the ships already, and that's pretty usable by your org members. Yeah, they're sort of like can organize
anytime.
Oh, fantastic. So what sort of?
Yeah, sorry. So the answer is yes. We have all the ships, and usually quite a few numbers of all the ships. So there's usually somebody online that can provide you with any ship that you want.
Okay, yeah, so in regard to that sort of like org activity and membership base, how active is your Discord? Is it active at all times of the day? Is there a particular time zone you focus on? Or is it sort of like all time zones?
All time zones. We currently, everybody, like our general chat's active all night long. So, we have people from all over Germany, the EU, China, South America, Africa. We have a couple of African people. Yeah, South Africa. We're all over, and we really try to facilitate anyone, really. Basically, the only caveat is speak English. That's just where we all communicate.
Okay, speak English and have a microphone.
Yeah, speak English, have a microphone. You don't have English doesn't have to be your primary language. We just need to be able to identify who you're going to play with, and then we can set you up with the right people that can help facilitate the communication gap. So we always point our people that are in the same region to each other. So we just had an influx of German people come in, and now we've got this awesome content creation channel German side of it. So we've got like 4 or 5 people just from Germany right now that are helping our content creator side, and with just within the last month, which is really cool. And we also have a couple people from South America that come in that are helping build the training events for security and stuff like that, which is huge. And then our Australian guys are always the ones that we just kind of hit or miss, but the Australian guys are really like funny core group of people that we play with. I'd say we just in general we facilitate it worldwide.
On a personal
Discord is empty. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say if the Discord is empty for us, really, if you pop in within 15 minutes, somebody's there. It doesn't matter what time of day, somebody will pop in. Hey, I didn't see you were on. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's very true. I was just gonna say that on a personal note. The how busy our Discord is drives me crazy, because I was here when it was small enough that like every time I stepped away from Discord and I came back, I could like scroll up and catch up to everything that was said, right? That is by far not possible anymore. Like I come back and there's giant conversations that have happened. I'm like, I was only away for 20 minutes.
You just jump in on the new conversation now.
Yeah, exactly. So I definitely suffer of Discord FOMO. But it's a good indication of how active the Discord is. It's quite active.
So, I quite liked some of the stuff you said when I was talking to you there, because when it comes to organization of organizations, as it were, a lot of orgs just want to increase constantly to like an infinite size potentially, without an organizational backbone, without the sort of like officers and stuff to support that. But the way you've described it to me, sort of like you're expanding in a fluid, sort of like dynamic manner, and sort of like play it by ear. and see what's appropriate as you get there, which is a good thing for me.
Yeah, we sort of like just roll with the punches, so to speak, with the bugs and things like that, because each patch, something's different.
Yeah, and we definitely understand that if we don't build the foundation now for the operation of the org, it's either going to be 10 times harder later on or probably impossible. So we're building for sustainability.
Is there anything else? I mean, there can be multiple things. Feel free to go wild that you'd like to tell me about the org. Extra bits you want to touch on, bits you want to tell me about.
Oh, yeah, I had one thing to add to the to kind of the time zone and like when people are on, because we do have our Tuesday and Thursday events, which are based in North America time zones, because don't do them when we work. But there's nothing saying with our new European friends coming in that we couldn't have stuff spun on their time zone too. But sorry, my point was then we have our Sunday fun day that we try to have at a time that works for both North American and European players, because we want to be able to feel like we at least get some FaceTime with everybody. So it's not just a night shift and day shift, barely seeing each other, barely talking to each other. We at least get one day where we try to meet at a time that works for everybody and go have fun together.
Yeah, it's a good point to lead them. Board, I would add that one thing I'd like to share is we try to be very transparent with the org members. And so one of the things that we started doing is we have a meeting that the executives, the council really holds every Sunday. And we discuss a myriad of topics. They're all org-related topics. And sometimes there's voting involved because we have to make some decisions. But that meeting is actually open to all org members to listen in. So we want to make sure the org understands the behind the scenes, what's going on, why are we making some of these decisions, right? And we're also building ways for them to have a say in the direction of the org. So we're building systems that will allow people to not only express themselves, but to really have an influence over the future of the org. And I think that's a pretty welcome thing amongst all members. Maybe it's good to note that we will be at CitizenCon in Manchester later this year. We're still building the roster of the people that are going to be there, but go ahead, Mouse.
If we get tickets,
of course, it's contingent for everybody's contingent on that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we plan to have representation at CitizenCon, and if it works out, then we're definitely looking forward to meeting any existing members or anybody that's interested in just joining us or even just chatting with us. Yeah, we love that.
Yeah, we are real people and we want to meet you.
But that's all I said.
Okay, so essentially what we're looking to do is, it's essentially, I guess almost like a senator or congressman, but like ideally they actually will do the job. So we would have like a voting system put in place, and we're going to work on some technology background to that. And the idea being, sorry, I'm getting a phone call, I'm going to ignore. The idea being like the people would be able to vote someone in as a counterpart. So like if I'm the executive of security, I would have like a person that's voted into office that speaks for the people to make sure that the executive or the person running a division doesn't lose sight on what the people are wanting. Because like you said, if you get to these really large numbers, it's going to be hard to know because you're going to have people on different time zones. It becomes too much for one person. So having that other person there as a checks and balance, and at the same time to be like, well, this person's turning into a tyrant. We need to not let this happen, right? Like, I feel like that needs to happen. So we have those kind of systems in mind, and we want to implement them. But like, we don't have it done yet, but that is something that's in our vision.
I also want to add one last thing.
Please do.
Our organization is basically when you come in, you put in the work that you want to see to get out of. So if you're here communicating with everybody and having a fun time and bettering yourself and also helping others, then that way they can tell other people on what they learned and what they, we all grow together, essentially. You put in what you want to see, essentially, is how the org works.
Expanding on what Bridgewater said, and this is for, I think, people that are thinking about joining the org, is there's lots to be done, right? We're setting up this whole structure and we have quite a bit of work already done, but there's a lot of work to be done. And so if you're into that kind of stuff, besides playing the game, but helping the org grow and sharing your ideas and rolling up the sleeves, this is the place to be. It's going to be a great ride. We're all excited of where we are, how successful we've been, but really all there is to do, to be done. So come on in.
I also want to touch on one last thing.
Yeah, please do.
One of the plans for 3.6 for Star Citizen, for us as an organization, we're thinking about doing a couple of race events where we can have like either org-to-org interactions or also the org within itself, and have a little bit of prizes here and there for that. So we're looking forward for that. Right now it's not finalized, but we're looking to finish up.
All the links to Odyssey Interstellar are down below. Check them out if you're looking for an org, and please feel free to ask questions about the org spotlight, about anything else that we discussed here, about the org itself, or whatever.